Karoline Leavitt just got destroyed on Fox News by their own host. It's one of the most embarrassing defenses of presidential, quote, corruption we've ever seen. But before we get to the meltdown, let's start with Senator Chris Murphy laying out exactly what's at stake.
Well, let's be clear about what this trip is all about. This is President Trump's corruption tour of the Middle East. He is going to the Gulf in order to collect tribute. What's happening here is an extraordinary level of corruption. We shouldn't pretend this is business as usual. What the president is doing is giving countries like Saudi Arabia and UAE what they want. For Saudi Arabia, it's a civilian nuclear deal with the United States. For the UAE, it is taking some of the restrictions off of the way that semiconductors flow into that country. And in exchange, Trump is not asking for any benefit to the American people. He's not asking for any movement towards peace in the region. He's asking for cash. He's asking for cash payments. UAE is giving him that through this deal on cryptocurrency, in which they are paying, doing a big deal through Trump crypto. And of course, we just found out this weekend that Qatar is going to be giving Donald Trump a plane.
Welcome to the, quote, Trump International Corruption Tour, now boarding for Riyadh, Abu Dhabi, and whatever kingdom wants to toss him a check. He's not brokering peace. He's brokering crypto deals. He's not demanding reforms. He's demanding tribute. Like some orange medieval warlord in a necktie. Need a nuclear deal? Some semiconductor favors? No problem. Just bring a fat crypto bag and maybe toss in a jet. Because what's a presidency without a personal $400 million Sky Palace? And the best part, Trump wants you to believe this has nothing to do with him personally. Hang tight, because this story, it only gets shadier from here. Later, also including our lovely Karoline.
Has Qatar asked for anything in exchange for that $400 million luxury jumbo jet? And how can the American people be so sure that they will not in the future?
Well, I think what happens with the plane is that, we're very disappointed that it's taking Boeing so long to build a new Air Force One. We have an Air Force One that's 40 years old. And if you take a look at that compared to the new plane of the equivalent, stature at the time, it's not even the same ballgame. You look at some of the Arab countries and the planes they have parked alongside of the United States of America plane, it's like from a different planet. And it's close to 40 years old, might be more than 40 years old now.
Instead of answering whether Qatar expects anything in return for a $400 million flying mansion, Trump starts rambling about airplane age like he's reviewing Antique Roadshow Aviation Edition. Apparently, the real crime here isn't corruption, it's that other countries have shinier jets. Trump sounds less like a president, more like a guy jealous of the neighbor's new car. No talk of ethics, no talk of influence, just why don't I have the cooler plane? And buckle up, because believe it or not, this answer isn't even close to being over.
When I first came in, I signed an order to get it built. I took it over from the Obama administration. They had originally agreed. I got the price down much lower. And then when the election didn't exactly work out the way that it should have, a lot of work was not done on the plane because a lot of people didn't know. They made change orders that were so stupid, so ridiculous. And it ended up being a total mess, a real mess. And when I came back, I said, by the way, what's going on with the Boeings that are coming in? Well, sir, they're way behind. And they're way behind. They were way behind. Another mess that I inherited from Biden.
Trump's not even pretending to cover this up anymore. He's not defending the jet, the corruption, or the shady deals. He's just stating it proudly, like bragging rights come with the crimes. This is exactly what Senator Murphy warned about. The belief that if corruption is done out in the open, somehow it doesn't count. They think if it's bold enough, public enough, and shameless enough, the media won't care, the public won't notice, and watchdogs will just give up. That's not transparency, that's just arrogance in full HD. Karoline Leavitt will literally try to spin this as honesty. See, if we commit the scandal right in front of you, it's not really a scandal. No, that's not how this works. Being open about corruption doesn't make it noble. It makes it worse. And the Trump team, they're daring us to stop them. They're laughing at accountability. They're daring the press, the public, and even their own party to call them out. Well, somebody finally did, and surprisingly, it came from inside the MAGA media machine. Take a look at how Fox News cornered Karoline Leavitt, and trust me, she did not see it coming.
Clarify that Qatar is giving us a new Air Force One as a personal gift to President Trump. Are they gifting it to the country? What could you tell us about this luxury liner that looks like a hotel in the air?
Well, the Qatari government has graciously offered to donate a plane to the Department of Defense. The legal details of that are still being worked out, but of course, any donation to this government is always done in full compliance with the law, and we commit ourselves to the utmost transparency, and we will continue to do that.
Ah, yes, the classic, it's totally legal, we promise defense. Karoline Leavitt says this floating 5-star hotel is going to the Department of Defense, not Trump personally. Sure, and Mar-a-Lago is just a humble timeshare. They always throw around words like transparency right when things start to stink, but this isn't transparency, it's damage control and pearls and a press pass. And Karoline, she's about to get absolutely wrecked for trying to sell this nonsense. But before that, leave a subscription if you like our content. Helps us a lot. Thanks. Back to the video.
Do you worry that if they give us something like this, they want something in return?
Absolutely not, because they know President Trump and they know he only works with the interests of the American public in mind.
When even Brian Kilmeade, full-time Trump cheerleader, is raising his eyebrows, you know it's bad. He's practically begging her, are we seriously pretending there's no strings attached? And Karoline, she responds with a straight face that Trump only acts in the public's interest. Right. And I'm the king of Qatar. Let's be clear, this is not just a gift. This plane needs to be refitted, secured, and souped up to serve as Air Force One. That takes time, that takes taxpayer money. And guess who's footing the bill to get it ready? We are. You really think Trump won't spend his whole second term making sure this flying palace is prepped and polished to become his retirement toy? And all that legal transparency Karoline keeps promising. Reviewed by Pam Bondi, the same person who lobbied for Qatar. This is not oversight. This is a loyalty club. It's all nonsense. It doesn't hold up, and it's unraveling fast, especially with what's happening inside the DOJ. Just watch. Jamie Raskin is about to lay it all out in the next clip.
The Department of Justice announced that it would demote the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act and not bring prosecutions there. It sacked 17 inspectors general when it started, people who saved us a combined $91 billion last year in ferreting out waste, fraud, abuse, and corruption in the government. It pulled the plug on the corruption prosecution of Mayor Adams in New York after Mayor Adams agreed to engage in a political alliance with Donald Trump, which then prompted the resignation ultimately of 6 or 7 attorneys, including the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District, Danielle Sassoon, who was a conservative Federalist Society lawyer and a Republican. Her number 2 also quit, saying that you'd have to be a fool or a coward to give in to this kind of pressure. Then they decimated the Public Integrity Unit. They dismantled the kleptocracy unit in Department of Justice. They shut down other units focused on stopping foreign interference in American politics.
Jamie Raskin just dropped a legal nuclear bomb. This DOJ isn't just asleep at the wheel. They ripped out the engine and gave Trump the keys. Inspectors general gone. Anti-corruption units dismantled. Prosecutors quitting mid-case. And for what? To keep Trump's shady alliances intact and white-collar cronies safe. But get ready, because in the next clip, we're going full tag team. A double takedown on corporate and political corruption. And yes, that includes Trump's crew.
Mr. Fox, why is prosecuting white-collar crime with specific enumerated offenses with the definite material elements in the crime, why is prosecuting white-collar crime important?
Yeah, so I looked, it seems like there's about maybe 7% or give or take of crimes that DOJ prosecutes. It seems like that will fall under the white-collar category. I think, there's a lot of the work that the federal government prosecutes are things that far exceed the doctrine of enumerated powers, or things that the federal government has absolutely zero business getting involved in. I think white-collar crime is one that arguably can fall under the ambit of the federal government, and it's something that is important to, discourage political corruption, make sure that people are, being prosecuted because the Department of Justice has evidence that they committed a crime, and they're not being prosecuted because of, what their political views are, or that they're not being let off because of what their political views are. People don't trust a system that targets people or that ignores people based upon the views they espouse or the people they support.
This is the part Trump's team never wants people to hear. White-collar crimes aren't victimless. When ignored, they unravel public trust, let the rich rewrite the rules, and open the floodgates to political corruption. Trump's DOJ isn't just soft on these crimes, it's actively protecting them. Fox is saying it clearly. A justice system that plays favorites destroys its own credibility. And this isn't just about a few shady deals. It's about the long-term damage to democracy. And guess what? This conversation is just heating up. Now they're about to expose the real consequences of Trump's, quote, corruption spiral.
So do you think that undermines public trust in the justice system?
Oh, dramatically.
It sends out the message that we have this two-track system, one for people who engage in kind of the run-of-the-mill state law crimes like assault or theft or robbery, and then one for white-collar criminals in the government or in corporations or in politics who are able to get away with it if they know the president or they know the right person.
Yeah, I think that's right. And also goes back to the question Ranking Member McBath asked, which is, about are they going to target people who they know will fight back versus won't or won't have the resources to? So I think, that's all very related there.
Yeah. Have you studied the whole question of whether there is systematic inclusion of a mens rea requirement, so we're not putting people in jail for most regulatory offenses?
Yeah, so a lot of regulatory offenses, and frankly also a lot of statutory crimes, don't include a mens rea. The theft charge that I talked about before in the Moore and Mansell case, if I were to take Mr. Canaparo's water bottle and give it to Professor Turley, we're on federal property, technically I could be charged. That's preposterous. No reasonable person would ever think that's theft, but without an actual explanation as to what theft is that I actually intended to, take his wallet and bring it home with me, people would, they would absolutely, fall victim to these types of prosecutions, which dramatically undermines trust in the system.
Yeah, I understand that the chairman and I think Ms. McBath have this Count the Crimes Act, which suggests that we don't even know how many crimes we have.
This is what happens when the justice system becomes a punchline, and Pam Bondi is the setup. Pam Bondi isn't America's Attorney General. She's Donald Trump's personal TV lawyer, and her job isn't justice, it's cable news propaganda. Merrick Garland didn't show up on MSNBC to push Biden's agenda, but Bondi, she basically has her own show on Fox dedicated to spinning, deflecting, and tearing down the DOJ on Trump's behalf. It's not just corrupt, it's shameless. And that's the entire point. They want you to stop caring, to normalize it, to accept that the president gets a media mouthpiece while everyone else plays by the rules. Here you can find the next video, click on it and subscribe. See you soon.